thought it was a bad move. H4, and he says, I'm out of here. Resigns.
That was a great opening choice by Nihal, great tactical awareness, but a bad game by Wesley. And something, you know, tactically, we can kind of sense it's nerves. I don't know what it is, but he's been really, really shaky these first two games. Let's see how that bears out as they get warmed up. Maybe it'll go away. Maybe not. We'll see. And a French.
Yep, this is actually interesting to find Wesley on the white side of this because he's playing these lines with black all the time and he's very well prepared in them as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way, which is often underestimated. When you play a line with the opposite color, you just have that inside look. You have that understanding that's hard to acquire otherwise.
Yep, it's kind of annoying. You're playing against something, you're like, damn, yeah, this is uncomfortable. I know how good my own stuff is.
I know there's this mediocre commentator who plays the French on occasion. Don't remember the name, though. Some guy.
It's escaping you at the moment, eh?
Escaping me at the moment. I am... Yeah, I keep wanting to make puns in 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬's last name, because in Russian it means literally one who doesn't remember.
Really?
So yeah, like "не помнить" means to forget or to not remember.
Is it like a word or a phrase that you actually would use?
Well, but I mean, but in English, do you ever use it? Because in Russian, you can combine descriptors and to make it one word, right? You can basically say something like one who catches birds for a living, but how often do you reference somebody who doesn't remember? That's like the defining characteristic. Well, that's my defining characteristic in relation to opening theory, but I am a 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬 when it comes to openings.
I feel like if it was an actual word, then I would use it more often.
Right.
We need to normalize the word, and then I got a lot of use cases for it. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to... You can almost label people like you're traveling with friends. One of them knows the address of the destination you're going to, and all of a sudden, you know, that friend is known as a frequent forgetter of said destination or how to get there. And that's when you pull out the 𝙬𝙬𝙬𝙬. Right. Like a sword.
One who remembers and one who forgets.
Right.
In every group.
Okay. So in the meantime, G4 by Wesley. So he's castled.
Surprises me, I have to say, because I was like more on the train of thought that maybe F6 made more sense for black after the move G4, try to open things up. But now he's giving all the space to white on the king side, and hello, rook G1, G5.
Hello, black king. Yeah, this is very hard to stop. I feel like Nihal has to try to pull out the emergency brake somehow, but how? Rook G1, G5, and the opposite colored bishops are greatly exacerbating the situation, as we like to discuss. In endgames, they lend a game of Jarge character, knight takes D4. Oh my goodness, Saman.
Queen H4 is a great tactic. Wow.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is a big chance there, and the tables completely turn.
Yeah, and King G3 is played definitely against that. I don't know if you saw it exactly, but it stops Queen H4, which is really important.
I mean, F6, relatively speaking, is a good move, were it not for the presence of knight takes D4.
Yep. As with many blunders.
Right. Or not for, yeah. So I guess you probably don't want to take on E5 because that eases the move G5 for white, although the G file is now hard to occupy with this king being on G3.
Yeah, I think white can consider things like bishop D6, just plant the bishop in there, rook A E1, and almost just jettison the queen side in favor of setting up bishop D6, rook E1, knight H4, F4.
I love bishop D6. I think that's what white should probably start with, because the immediate knight H4 would necessarily give up a pawn.
It's a very secure square as well, D6. It's like it really can't be touched. Knight A5, knight B7, then you just move back, and the knight's horribly placed.
Yeah, it's right in the teeth of black's position. And once again, black simply doesn't have a dark squared bishop. I guess black could contest this bishop with his queen, but I don't know. Maybe too early for that.
yeah. Wouldn't put it past him.
Now, how about them apples? Maybe Nihal wants to open up the G file. Wesley putting the kibosh on that. G5, there's going to be an en passant.
That's right. Yeah, should be no way we see something like that. F4, F5 looks really nasty.
Right.
I'm not seeing like I feel like the eval bar is just not seeing what I'm seeing, because I think this looks great for Wesley. I don't really see active play for black. I see bishop d6, f4, rook a e1, easy moves. Where's black's counterplay?
Yeah, it seemed like Nihal was getting stuff done on the king side, but this move knight h4 is just a total, it just ends all ideas connected with f5, with g6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing it, and let's not forget about bishop d6, which should still come at a timely moment.
Right.
To solidify everything. Rook c8. And I don't know if I would be able to resist the temptation, but I feel like Wesley, okay, there we go, f4. He doesn't resist it either. Should be 4, stopping ideas with rook c3.
Yep, and very much air quotes stopping bishop takes a4.
Oh man, that was the real threat. Right?
Yeah, that was a huge one.
No, air quotes stopping rook c3. The whole point was the bishop takes a4 was the game-winning threat.
Yeah, exactly. But I really think, in all seriousness, he does not care about that queen side at all. I imagine rook a e1 could get played, and bishop a4 is pretty much meaningless because this game is going to be decided on the king side.
Yeah, although you can't get too cavalier with that king on g3, because I could envision some scenario where, if pawns get traded and white forgets about the g5 square,
right?
Unfortunate stuff could still happen to white's king. But Wesley, with plenty of time here to calculate, you should be able to figure this one out.
God forbid the queen ever gets on that diagonal, right? From d3 to h7, then there'd be some knight g6 checks, and black's got to always make sure to keep that diagonal under control.
That would be one heck of a windmill, plus checkmate.
The best kind of windmill.
Right, the famous checkmating windmill.
yeah, the famous forced mate.
Well, if he mates like that, then we might see some tilting at windmills.
Yeah, that was a reference and a half right there. In fact, it's so good, I don't even think some people will get it.
AP Spanish literature, it's a high school. All right, so rook ac1, very deflating move for black, getting rid of the only active piece, right? That's a very important concept. And as you said, does anybody here care about the a4 pawn? I don't know if anybody in the chat cares about it. Me neither. Is it time for bishop d6?
Yeah, I feel like now bishop d6, knight b7, I really do run out of squares. So I am not sure about bishop d6 anymore. You could really almost play bishop takes a5 as well. And if you're going to play bishop a5, then you could just wait with bishop c3 and just continue with f5.
Correct. And rook b1, where did that rook come from? It came from a1.
Right.
So maybe rook c2, he wants to play rook fc1? I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of jumping around to both sides of the board, like with his plans here. He's not following through with f5.
Yeah, and very practical decision by Nihal. At the very least, he gets a pawn. We were joking about it, but if Wesley's attack fizzles out, these are connected passers.
That's right. Yeah, may as well take that.
Not anymore. I stand corrected.
And the pawns do not.
Uh-oh. G5 looking good. Yeah, but now bishop b5 and a6.
Right.
I don't know.
Not sure how happy.
I don't know about that. How important was that pawn to take and
rook c8 is coming.
Right. I felt like rook c1 was just sort of playing itself. Now Nihal still g5 is going to come at some point, and with 14 seconds, this is a nightmare to defend.
So maybe you are going for g5. Yeah, right now that looks correct.
And what Wesley could do is get that knight around to e5 to plug this diagonal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's going to guard the d3 pawn as well. That's a nasty idea.
Rook f8, maybe? I would have gone knight g6 just to force things. I don't understand why Wesley is giving Nihal additional opportunities. We know Nihal does not miss additional opportunities. Okay, rook f5, g6. In comes the rook, but then rook f8. Oh, this.
Bishop e8. That's asking for it. But
I mean, h6 looks good. Knight e5, maybe. Although then you lose h5.
He can almost go king g4.
Yeah, I think you can.
It's like, you know, this permanent pin on the bishop on e8 is very annoying.
Although I feel like given Nihal's time situation, h6 would be devastating to face.
Right. Yeah. It's a great point.
Knight e5 is coming.
Everything is covered.
Knight f7 after queen f6. I mean, knight f7 definitely wins. Probably not the best you can do. Maybe queen f3. Ah, but then queen g5 check.
There are some funny stalemates on the other lines.
That is a brutal move.